Good afternoon. Welcome to GrainTV. It's Thursday, December 6th. I'm Kevin McNew. To my right, Brock Shimano. We had an impressive export sales report this morning that stimulated the bean market. Brock, take us through some of the numbers that came out.
Yeah, I think soybeans was really the highlight of the export sales report this morning. We saw soybeans have sales of over 1 million metric tons today. Corn was really kind of on the low end, pretty poor sales, only 47,000 metric tons. Soybean meal also an impressive showing, but wheat also met expectations at 353,000 metric tons. So I guess the numbers to take away from here is soybeans, great sales. Corn, terrible sales.
Yeah, it continued the theme that we've been having for several weeks now. The corn market's just extremely disappointing while beans are exceptionally strong.
Yeah, if we take a look at these charts that we've been following all marketing year long, if you take a look at this corn chart here, the blue bars are what we actually are seeing for sales. The red line is what we should be experiencing for sales to meet the current USDA expectations, given the seasonality of those sales. You can see that we're about 26 million bushels behind pace to meet that expectation by the USDA. We fell 12 million bushels alone this week, so really poor sales for corn. If we take a look at soybeans, you can see that we did exceed expectations, 183 million bushels ahead of pace, and we gained another 13 million bushels again this week. So a continued strong export sales for soybeans.
Right. And the thing about soybeans that impresses me is it's not just China that's in the market for U.S. beans. Everyone's talking about China stepping up and buying beans, which of course is positive. But when we break it out and look at who else is buying, it's really everyone else in the world is also strong buyers as well. This chart here shows this year of 2012 versus last year of 2011. And what we can see is we've got a 5 million metric ton increase so far on the books for this year. And of that 5 million metric tons, 1.6 million metric tons is higher for China and 3.4 is higher for the rest of the world. So this is really, I think, a strong case for the bulls that this is a really strong demand base. We are seeing the rest of the world in conjunction with China being aggressive buyers of U.S. beans.
I think we've really seen it take hold in the futures market in the last couple sessions as well. We've rallied pretty sharply, especially going into the end of the session today. We ended up near the top end of our range at 1492. Mm-hmm. I don't really see a whole lot holding down this bean market on the top side. We have a little bit of resistance around the $15 area from the 50-day moving average. But above that, 1520 is kind of the area that I'm looking at the next spot for resistance.
Yeah, with the strong close today, it'll be interesting to see if overnight we penetrate that $15 mark or whether we maybe chop down in the next day or so.
Another market that I think that got a little bit of support from that soybean rally late in the session was the wheat market. Mm-hmm. It was trading negatively all day until right at the end when we ended up positive. It's something that could have been aiding that rally was a sale to Japan in the overnight session. 140,000 metric tons went to them in the overnight.
Yeah, and that was certainly positive. And the market is looking for increased buying interest by foreign buyers at U.S. wheat. We haven't really seen it yet to date, but we know, the Black Sea region is tapped out. We know Australia is off. We know Argentina's crop is in bad straits. So, we're going to be looking for those export numbers to continue to pick up in the wheat market in the coming months. The other thing I think that is important is the continued drought in the U.S. plains. This is just detrimental growing conditions right now. We know it's the worst conditions in history for this time of year. And when you have these kind of dry conditions going into the winter, farmers start thinking about abandonment. And I know we're getting a lot of chatter from farmers in Kansas and Oklahoma in that area where they're thinking about just abandoning this crop because it's in such bad situation. So if we look at years of like 88 or 2001 where we had extreme droughts in the wheat market, we do see abandonment rates that are pretty substantial. My take is if we do see continued drought, we will get that abandonment, and we could see a subpar 2 billion bushel crop or less, which I think would be extremely bullish in conjunction with export demand strength in the latter half of the marketing year.
Yeah, that's something we'll definitely have to pay attention to as we head into the spring. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, check us out on Facebook, or get a hold of us at 877-472-4607.